She stood at the jagged edge of the crater, arms crossed, hair whipped by alien winds that smelled faintly of burnt metal and regret. The black hole that had swallowed her daughter wasn't supposed to be a spectacle, just an unfortunate bureaucratic accident of interstellar travel. But here she was, staring at nothing and mourning everything. "I swear," she muttered, lips trembling in that dramatic way humans perfected. "Even a black hole has better timing than the Galactic Council." She squinted at the horizon where rigid alien towers jutted into the sky like frozen daggers. Those aliens didn't get grief, didn't understand sarcasm, and absolutely could not handle the concept of a messy human funeral. The ritual was supposed to be somber. The aliens hovered in geometric formations, their perfect forms glinting under a pale green sun, waiting for her to perform the ceremonial lament. Humans, by contrast, had flair for chaos. Her dramatic gestures, the way she kicked loose stones into the crater, and her exaggerated sighs were textbook human, utterly indecipherable to the aliens. She rolled her eyes at a nearby officiant, who blinked mechanically, trying to interpret her emotional code. "No," she snapped. "You cannot measure grief in kilojoules or schedule it in increments of 30 seconds. This is an art form, clearly beyond your wiring." She crouched, brushing imaginary dust from her daughter's empty gravestone, muttering the kinds of self-pitying monologues humans seemed genetically engineered to produce. "You'd think the universe could be kinder, but no, she goes out with style. A starlet in zero gravity, leaving me to audition for widowhood in front of judgmental aliens." She laughed bitterly at her own joke, and for once, the aliens were speechless, which she considered a small victory. From the periphery, a figure approached, clanking loudly, wires sparking like miniature fireworks. The engineer's gait was chaotic, almost comically confident, and a small trail of mechanical parts followed behind like breadcrumbs of inevitable disaster. She noticed him, the corner of her mouth twitching. Humans were messy, impractical, and occasionally dangerous, but the one thing they could do was improvise, and if anyone could fix a black hole-induced disappearance, it would be him. The engineer waved, holding up a device that looked suspiciously like a cross between a coffee maker and a toaster. "Morning, Grief Queen," he called, his tone equal parts sarcasm and bravado. "Ready to make your daughter lively again?" His words had that human double-meaning flair, technically a promise of resurrection, but loaded with the kind of audacity only humans could manage. She glanced at him, arms still crossed, lips twitching. "Lively?" she asked. "Last I checked, lively required oxygen, not caffeine and duct tape." The engineer grinned, leaning against a jagged rock like he owned the crater. "Oh, we'll do more than caffeine. Consider it a reawakening. You know, in every sense that matters." She raised an eyebrow, simultaneously horrified and intrigued. Typical humans, always blurring lines, always testing limits. A nearby alien observer tilted its head, as if a human just described turning air into water. "Explain, reawakening," it demanded. She ignored it, muttering, "You really wouldn't get it unless you had a soul and a sense of humor. Which, apparently, you don't." The wind picked up, tugging at her cloak, and she crouched again by the gravestone, pretending to brush off cosmic dust. The irony wasn't lost on her. Humans had the gall to survive in a galaxy that practically begged them to fail. Messy, loud, sarcastic, and inventive, they were the underdogs of every interstellar council, yet somehow always found a way to fix what should have been impossible. Even now, she could feel it, the chaotic pulse of human ingenuity, the way her engineer would take broken circuits, half-burned energy cells, and caffeine-fueled optimism, and somehow bring her daughter back. Her daughter. The thought of her, unconscious and somewhere between zero gravity and the void, twisted in her chest. She muttered aloud, the words spilling out with dramatic flair. "You better not come back as some metallic, soulless imitation of yourself. You better be alive. Fully alive. Or I swear I'll. Her hands flailed, an ungraceful human gesture of frustration and threat, which aliens interpreted as an aggressive display of affection. The engineer crouched beside her, unscrewing a panel from his device with a casual flick of his wrist. "Don't worry," he said, wires sparking harmlessly in the alien air. If anyone knows how to make someone lively again, it's a human with no respect for rules and a coffee addiction. The double meaning lingered in the air. She snorted. Yes, humans always found a way to push boundaries, sometimes morally, sometimes physically, and often both. An alien hovering nearby buzzed in confusion. Explain caffeine? It demanded. Explain, lively? The mother waved a dismissive hand. Caffeine is life. Lively is a state of being. Humans combine them at funerals all the time. The alien, confused beyond comprehension, tilted its head and made a soft, indecipherable sound. Humans were impossible, it seemed. She stepped back, letting the engineer work, but her eyes never left the grave. I swear, if she comes back with wires sticking out of her hair and sass in her voice, I will. She stopped mid-threat, realizing she just described her daughter perfectly. Humans were chaotic, messy, unpredictable, and absolutely brilliant at survival. That's what she loved and feared most. A small spark flew from the engineer's device, landing harmlessly on a rock. He held up a finger. Here's the fun part, he said. If this works, she wakes up, and trust me, the sass is fully optional, mostly. The mother laughed, a sharp, bitter laugh. Aliens had never heard humans laugh at cosmic tragedies like this. She did it for effect, for rebellion, and maybe because she enjoyed being slightly dangerous. For the first time since the black hole swallowed her daughter, she felt a flicker of hope, human-style, messy, chaotic, and entirely improbable. She knew the odds, she knew the laws, she knew the Council's regulations, but humans never did things by the book. They improvised. They joked. They flirted with disaster. And somehow they survived. Somehow, they fixed things others considered permanent. And somewhere in the device the engineer was tinkering with, somewhere in the mess of wires, sparks, and human ingenuity, her daughter waited. Not dead, not gone, just temporarily misplaced. And if there was one thing humans did best, it was finding the impossible, twisting it sideways, and making it work, with a laugh, a joke, and maybe just a little caffeine. She straightened, brushing her cloak with exaggerated dignity. Do it then. Make her lively again. But no half measures. I want full sass, full chaos, and fully human. Got it? The engineer saluted, sparks flying from his tools like fireworks. Aye, Captain. Humans don't do subtle. Only spectacular. And with that, the improvisation, the chaos, and the audacious hope that only humans could deliver, began. The engineer crouched beside the crater, wires dangling like spaghetti from his toolkit, and grinned at the mother. All right, he said, voice dripping with sarcasm. Time to make her lively again. Permanently lively. You ready for a miracle, or should I add coffee first? The mother raised a brow. You keep saying lively. Are we talking literal, emotional, or some human interpretation of chaos? He laughed, flicking a switch. Sparks flew harmlessly. All of the above. Humans specialize in multitasking disasters and miracles simultaneously. He adjusted the device, a contraption of blinking lights, humming energy cores, and parts scavenged from half-broken androids. A panel read, Resurrectomatic 9000. The irony wasn't lost on anyone, least of all the aliens hovering stiffly nearby. Humans, why is everything so theatrical? One of them buzzed. The engineer winked. Because dramatic flair keeps things exciting. Plus, sarcasm's free. He jabbed a needle into a small canister labeled caffeine infusion and muttered. Step 1, wake her up. Step 2, make her awake enough to curse at me. The mother rolled her eyes, but there was a spark of hope. Human ingenuity was unpredictable, messy, and sometimes insane, but it worked. She leaned closer, whispering, Just make sure she doesn't come back with a vendetta. Or worse, with a full-blown teenage attitude. The engineer smirked, tapping the canister. Oh, don't worry. We'll calibrate SAS levels. Full human mode, slightly caffeinated. She might even flirt with danger, but that's standard procedure. The device whirred, humming louder as wires coiled and sparks danced across its surface. The engineer leaned back, wiping sweat, or maybe just energy residue, from his forehead. "Aliens," he called. "Watch closely. This is how humans fix things. No manuals, no protocols, just wit, coffee, and a touch of chaos." The aliens tilted their heads, processing, their geometric eyes blinking in confused patterns. He laughed. "Yes, humans are messy. No, it doesn't make sense. Yes, it works. Welcome to our style of brilliance." He jabbed a second needle, this one glowing faintly. "Step 3, consciousness transfer. Step 4, subtle charm. Step 5, inject a little more caffeine for dramatic effect." The mother shook her head. "You sound like a bartender preparing a cocktail for the undead." He grinned wider. "Not undead. Undeniably alive. Trust me, humans have a flair for resurrection with style." Meanwhile, her daughter lay prone, wires tangled around her limbs, circuits humming faintly. The engineer crouched over her, hands moving like lightning, adjusting neural interfaces and power regulators. "Ah, the joys of improvisation," he muttered. "Where humans take broken parts, slap on duct tape, and call it engineering." He flicked a switch and sparks shot upward. The mother gasped, half in horror, half in anticipation. "Don't worry," he said, tossing a wrench to the side like it was a ceremonial gesture. "This is perfectly safe. Well, relatively. Humans have a 97% success rate. The remaining 3, dramatic flair." He winked at the mother. "Part of the charm of being human is embracing the chaos." The daughter twitched. A faint groan escaped her lips. The mother leaned in, heart thumping. "Is she?" The engineer grinned. "Alive, technically. Fully lively? Almost. Wait for the caffeine infusion to kick in. That's when the sass arrives." He jabbed another glowing injector into a power cell, and a hum of energy surged through the Resurrectomatic. "Warning, side effects may include eye-rolling, sarcasm, and a sudden craving for snacks. Standard human revival protocol." Aliens whispered among themselves. "Explain, snacks?" One buzzed. "Explain, sass?" The mother smirked. "Humans. Weird. Delicious. And impossible to predict." The engineer laughed, flipping switches. "Yes. Also mildly caffeinated miracles." He leaned closer to the daughter, adjusting a neural stabilizer with exaggerated precision. "Come on, kiddo. Time to wake up. Time to remember you're human. Time to remind everyone that humans never follow the rules, and somehow, we always win." A faint spark of movement. The daughter twitched, fingers flexing. The engineer's eyes gleamed. "Oh, there it is. Consciousness returning. Vitality rebooting. SAS calibration commencing." He jotted notes on a scrap of paper. Expected sarcasm, high. Expected complaints, immediate. Emotional trauma, optional but probable. The mother swallowed hard. This actually might work," she muttered. "I knew humans were messy, but this is genius." The engineer grinned, nudging a glowing wire into place. "Messy genius, that's the HFY motto. Improvisation beats protocol every time. Aliens may have rules, but humans have audacity." A low hum filled the air. The daughter's eyes fluttered open slightly, just enough for the mother to catch a glimpse. "See?" the engineer said, voice tinged with triumph. "Lively. Almost. Caffeine pending." The mother held back laughter, then groaned. "Don't tell me she's going to be more sarcastic than ever." The engineer's grin widened. "Oh, it's guaranteed. That's part of the charm." The alien observers hovered awkwardly, completely unable to process the combination of technical skill, improvisation, and sarcastic humor. "Explain, why are humans so reckless?" one buzzed. The mother smirked. "Because recklessness is survival when rules fail," the engineer added. "Also, because it's fun. And we look fabulous doing it." Another spark, another hum, and the daughter's chest rose slightly. The engineer wiped sweat from his brow, tossing a small tool behind him with flourish. Step 6. Maintain optimism. Step 7. Ensures SAS reaches full capacity. Step 8. Survival against all odds. Humans do it daily. You should try it. The mother laughed despite herself. I'm supposed to be mourning, and yet, I think I might enjoy this. The engineer nodded solemnly, mock serious. Mourning with flair. That's a very human thing too. Sadness, chaos, caffeine, and miraculous timing. Always perfectly human. Finally, a shiver ran through the daughter, her fingers curling around a loose wire. The engineer leaned back, hands on hips. Success in progress. Vitality increasing. SAS imminent. Emotional trauma mostly manageable. The mother whispered, I can't believe this is happening. The engineer shrugged, flashing his trademark mischievous grin. Humans always find a way. Sometimes chaotic, usually caffeinated, always audacious. And there it was. A spark of life, small, flickering, messy, and entirely human. The beginning of revival. Not perfect, not quiet, not protocol approved, but unmistakably human. Chaos, caffeine, ingenuity, and a dash of audacity, the recipe that would bring her daughter back. Fully lively, fully sarcastic, and ready to challenge every alien expectation in the galaxy. A faint groan echoed from the tangle of wires and glowing panels. The daughter's eyelids fluttered, a hesitant blink that sent a jolt of adrenaline through the mother. She's moving, the mother muttered, biting back a laugh that had no right to mix with tears. The engineer's grin stretched from ear to ear, sparks from his tools reflecting in his eyes. Welcome back to the land of the living, kiddo. Fully lively. Slightly caffeinated. Possibly sassy. Perfectly human. He leaned closer, adjusting wires with exaggerated precision, every flick of his wrist a blend of technical skill and theatrical flair. The daughter opened her eyes, groggy, hair sticking up in defiance of gravity, circuits humming faintly under her skin. What happened? She asked, voice hoarse but tinged with mischief. Her gaze fell on the engineer, and a smirk spread across her face. Oh no, did you do this? Did you bring me back? The engineer gave a mock bow, as if accepting an Oscar for improbable miracles. I did indeed. Humanity triumphs again. With coffee, chaos, and a hint of caffeine-induced genius. The mother, arms crossed, shook her head with a laugh. You better not be planning to hand me a fully wired daughter who refuses to eat proper meals or sleep like a normal human. The engineer chuckled. Normal is boring. We aim for extraordinary. SAS optional, rebellion guaranteed. The daughter rolled her eyes, lifting a hand to flick at a dangling wire. I feel weirdly awake. And annoyed. Perfect. Her first steps were wobbly, wires sticking out from her arms and neck like festive decorations. The engineer watched, nodding approvingly. Balance is key. SAS calibration almost complete. Vitality rebooting. Caffeine still processing. Side effects may include sarcastic commentary, eye-rolling, and the sudden urge to correct everything humans do poorly, which is most things. The daughter laughed weakly, coughing softly. So I'm alive, but with a human upgrade? The engineer tapped his chest. Exactly. Slightly caffeinated, highly sassy, partially cyborg. Fully human at heart. The mother's gaze softened. I can't believe it. After everything, you actually did it. She glanced at the aliens hovering nearby, their rigid forms blinking in confusion. Do you see? Humans improvise. Humans survive. Humans laugh while everyone else follows rules to the letter. The engineer added with a flourish. And humans do it with style. Messy, unpredictable, caffeine-fueled style. The daughter tested her strength, arms flexing, circuits buzzing. So, what's next? Do I have powers now? The engineer smirked. Powers? No. Sarcasm? Definitely. A newfound appreciation for caffeine? Absolutely. Ability to annoy aliens efficiently? That's the bonus feature. The mother groaned, burying her face in her hands. I'm going to regret letting you tinker with her. The daughter stood, wobbling slightly, and pointed at the engineer. You owe me. I woke up alive, but with these wires sticking out like some ridiculous party decoration. He tapped her shoulder, mock serious. Consider it fashion. Humans have flair, even in revival. Also, the wires help with SAS calibration. She groaned dramatically, muttering, I feel like a caffeinated robot with attitude problems. The mother laughed, shaking her head. Welcome back to humanity, darling. We're messy, caffeinated, and never boring. Aliens hovered in silence, clearly struggling to process the chaotic human display. Explain, SAS? One buzzed. Explain, vitality with chaos. The engineer grinned, waving a hand dismissively. Humans, my metallic friends. We combine disaster with charm, caffeine with mischief, and somehow survive. You may not understand it, but it works every time. The daughter, now fully upright, took a deep breath. So, all I need is coffee and attitude to survive? The engineer nodded solemnly. Exactly. Add a sprinkle of sarcasm and occasional chaos, and you're a textbook human. Now go test your new SAS limits. She smirked, flexing her fingers, then flicked a dangling wire. Sparks danced briefly. Consider it tested, she muttered. The mother laughed, leaning against a rock. I swear, humans are absurd. But at least they get results. The engineer clapped his hands together. Time for the next step, fully embracing human chaos. That means snacks, complaints, eye-rolling, and maybe minor rebellion against authority. All standard human revival protocols. The daughter tilted her head, still blinking at the ceiling of alien sky. Snacks? The engineer winked. Yes. Vital for sustenance, SAS energy, and general human excellence. The mother groaned. I cannot believe I just agreed to this. The daughter began walking, wobbling but steady, wires bouncing with every step. I feel alive, she said, a mischievous smile spreading across her face. And strangely, caffeinated. What did you inject into me exactly? The engineer shrugged, twirling a screwdriver. Ah, that's a cocktail of human ingenuity, caffeine, sarcasm, and a touch of chaos. Side effects include SAS, minor mischief, and the occasional existential joke. She laughed weakly, then coughed, a sound that blended relief and incredulity. So, basically, fully human. The mother shook her head, smiling through tears. I can't believe it. After everything, humans actually pulled it off. The engineer grinned. That's HFY in action. Messy, chaotic, inventive humans. We follow no rules, yet somehow, we always manage to win. Even in a galaxy that's designed to break us. The daughter glanced at the aliens. They look so confused. The engineer shrugged. They are. Part of human charm, incomprehensible brilliance wrapped in chaos. A sudden jolt from a dangling wire made the daughter stumble slightly, and the engineer caught her effortlessly. See? He said, mock serious. Balance, timing, and a dash of daring. All essential for humans. Also, sparks look dramatic. She laughed, brushing a stray wire from her face. I feel like a caffeinated rebel cyborg. The mother chuckled. Welcome back. Humanity never fails to surprise, does it? The daughter flexed her arms, now confident. I'm alive. I'm wired. I'm ready to annoy everyone, including aliens, with style. The engineer clapped. Exactly. That's what humans do best. Messy, caffeinated, bold, and unpredictably alive. The mother nodded. Good. Now let's survive this day without causing a galactic incident. The daughter smirked. No promises. Caffeine and chaos wait for no one. The engineer leaned back, crossing his arms, satisfied. Humans are unpredictable. Humans are messy. Humans improvise. Humans survive. And humans, apparently, bring the dead back with style, sass, and a caffeine kick. Aliens may not understand it, but we do. That's the HFY way. The daughter laughed, voice strong and playful. Then let's test that HFY thing to its limits. The mother groaned. I'm doomed, aren't I? The sparks from the wires danced, the machines hummed, and in that chaotic, caffeinated, wildly human way, life resumed. Not perfect. Not quiet. But undeniably human. Sass, sarcasm, chaos, and ingenuity combined to bring her daughter fully, outrageously alive again. The galaxy might have been strict, rigid, and rule-bound, but humans? Humans improvised, laughed, caffeinated, and thrived, leaving aliens blinking in bewildered admiration. The daughter stood, fully upright now, wires dangling but humming with life, a mischievous glint in her eyes. So, what's next? Do I get a medal for surviving a black hole, or just more caffeine? The engineer smirked. Caffeine. Always caffeine. Medals are boring. Humans survive through style, sass, and strategic chaos. The mother rolled her eyes, laughing despite herself. I can't believe you brought her back with duct tape and a caffeine injection. Humans really have no shame. The daughter flexed her arms, still groggy but fierce. And look at me, part cyborg, part human, fully caffeinated. I feel unstoppable. Maybe a little hungry. Definitely sassy. The engineer nodded solemnly. All part of the human revival protocol. Hunger, sass, minor rebellion, existential jokes, they're essential. The mother sighed, shaking her head. I knew humans were chaotic, but this is peak audacity. Aliens hovered, geometric forms blinking in patterns that humans would call confusion. Explain, audacity? One buzzed. The engineer gestured dramatically. Audacity is when humans take broken rules, defy expectations, inject coffee, and somehow make miracles happen. You'll never understand it. You're welcome. The daughter laughed, hair sticking in multiple directions, sparks reflecting off her circuits. I'm alive. I'm wired. I'm going to annoy the universe. The mother groaned. Great. Welcome back, Chaos Incarnate. The engineer flicked a switch on his device, sparks flying harmlessly. Optional side effects, sass, rebellion, and minor existential dread. Guaranteed to irritate aliens and impress humans. The daughter smirked. Perfect. That sounds like me. She glanced at her mother. So, Mom, are we celebrating with snacks or philosophical debates about survival? The mother laughed. Snacks. Survival comes after caffeine, sarcasm, and laughter. The engineer handed her a small packet labeled Instant Human Energy, basically dehydrated caffeine-infused biscuits. Vital for sass. Essential for chaos. Optional for nutrition. The daughter tore one open, crunching loudly. I've survived death, black holes, and now this. Truly, human life is absurd. The mother shook her head. Absurd, messy, caffeinated, and somehow it works. The aliens hovered closer, blinking in synchronized confusion. Explain, survival through absurdity. The engineer waved dismissively. Humans survive through audacity, laughter, caffeine, and refusing to follow rules. You may not understand it, but it works. Always works. Trust me. The daughter laughed, flopping onto a nearby rock with a wire dangling from her shoulder. I feel fully alive. Slightly wired. And ready to mock everyone in my path. The mother approached, gently brushing the wire aside. You're alive. You're alive, and you came back with flair. Humans truly do thrive in chaos. The engineer chuckled. Chaos is our specialty. We improvise, joke, tinker, caffeinate, and somehow emerge victorious. Aliens have rules, humans have ingenuity. The daughter stretched, humming faintly as her circuits adjusted. And sass. Don't forget sass. Essential for survival. The mother laughed. You're unbelievable. Humans truly are impossible. The engineer leaned against a jagged rock, arms crossed. Impossible, chaotic, caffeinated humans, HFY in action. We break rules, bend reality, and bring miracles to life. Often with sparks, humor, and minor rebellion. The daughter flexed her fingers. So, technically, we just proved humans are better than aliens? The engineer winked. Technically, yes. Sarcastically, yes. Fully caffeinated, absolutely yes. The daughter walked toward the edge of the crater, testing her balance. I feel fully human. Part machine, sure, but alive. And ready to challenge anyone who doubts human ingenuity. The engineer tapped his chest. Exactly. HFY in its purest form, messy, caffeinated, audacious, and alive. Aliens may not get it, but humans always find a way. The mother shook her head, smiling through tears. I've never been more proud of human chaos. The daughter twirled, wires bouncing with dramatic flair. I survived a black hole, caffeine injections, and adult sarcasm. What next? Galactic conquest? Snack breaks? The engineer laughed. Both. But mostly snack breaks. Humans survive on small victories and absurdity. And occasionally, black hole-induced sass. The mother clutched her sides, laughing. I can't handle this. Fully alive, fully wired, fully caffeinated chaos. Humans are insane. Aliens hovered silently, blinking in synchronized awe. Explain, caves as survival mechanism. The engineer smirked. Humans are messy. Humans improvise. Humans caffeinate. Humans survive. Simple as that. The daughter twirled once more, sparks flying harmlessly from dangling wires. I feel unstoppable. Sassy. Hungry. Alive. Fully human with a side of wired rebellion. The mother laughed so hard she had to lean on a rock. And this is why humans always win. The engineer nodded. Improvisation, caffeine, audacity, and humor. Aliens can plan, predict, and compute. Humans laugh, tweak, and survive. Always. The daughter stretched dramatically. So, HFY isn't just a motto. It's a lifestyle. Caffeinated, chaotic, audacious lifestyle. The engineer pointed at the horizon. Humans always find a way. We improvise, we laugh, we survive. We caffeinate when necessary, rebel when possible, and always outweed protocol. That's HFY. The daughter leaned against him, smirking. And occasionally, we bring the dead back with style. The mother shook her head, laughing. I can't believe it. Humans, ridiculous, messy humans, actually did it. The sparks from the wires danced, lights flickering across the crater. The daughter's circuits hummed with life, sass fully calibrated, and caffeine coursing through her system. I'm alive. I'm wired. I'm ready to annoy the universe. The engineer clapped. Exactly. HFY in action. Humans thrive where rules fail, chaos reigns, and coffee flows freely. Aliens may never understand it, but humans do. And that's enough. The daughter turned to her mother. So, snacks before universal domination? The mother groaned. Always snacks first. Then we conquer. The engineer laughed, sparks flying from his toolkit. Humans always find a way. Sometimes messy, often caffeinated, always victorious. The daughter smirked, flexing her fingers. Fully alive, fully human, and fully caffeinated chaos. Let's go annoy some aliens. And so, amid sparks, laughter, and chaotic ingenuity, humans once again proved the galaxy could not predict, control, or contain them. Messy, audacious, caffeinated, sarcastic, inventive, and fully alive, they thrived. Not perfectly, not quietly, but unmistakably human. HFY wasn't just a motto, it was the undeniable law of survival in a universe that underestimated them at every turn. Chaos, sass, and caffeine, the ultimate triumph.